The Thrall's Gambit is the 5th book in the YA fantasy series by my co-writer Casey Lennon and me. It was published in, actually it was at Halloween of 2020. This book is Casey's favorite, and it definitely has the strongest, Halloween vibes in the series, which made its release date, which we actually did not initially plan. It was just fate. So yeah, when we were approaching this book, we already had a plan in mind, but something that a reader said put a thought into my head, which was basically, what if we didn't go with what we had planned? This led to the 3 biggest takeaways from writing this book. 1. Trying the unexpected and unplanned, especially with the character Deirdre, was hard, but it was freaking worth it. So we already had an idea for what Deirdre's character arc would be, which is basically girl faces problem, girl sinks to low point, girl overcomes problem. But one of my readers, who I chatted with before, said this before we started this book, she was just like, this series feels a little predictable, and I was like, I'm very mature and level-headed, so I just took this as a challenge and decided I am not going to make this book predictable, but not in that subvert expectations way. You know what I'm talking about? Whatever the characters are completely out of character, or the rules of the magic system or the world are broken, just to surprise the reader. I hate that. That's whenever you get brilliant lines somehow the emperor has returned. Yeah, none of that garbage. But I still wanted to shake it up a bit without, doing something stupid. So I began to think, given everything that we have established about the world and the magic and the characters so far, what other options might happen other than what we, were originally planning? I guess one way to look at this is exploring different possible timelines, or another perspective might be the D&D approach. Instead of getting this one dice roll, what if you just got the worst one? Is that a natural one or something? I'm sorry, I haven't played D&D yet. If you know, you know. Basically, she was going to roll high or really good or whatever, and I was like, what if she rolled really bad? So there we go. So anyways, I played around with different options for her, and we wound up going way different than we initially thought, but it was so much better than what we originally planned. So much better. So don't be afraid to play around. Approach it from a completely different angle. It's also kind of fun. A little stressful sometimes, because it's is it gonna work? But yeah, it's fun. The second big takeaway was the beliefs method just to the rescue once more. This book is really heavy on character growth. We have arcs for 6 to 7 characters or more. Yeah, and some of these arcs are really important, since villains who can do very bad things that could end the story are present, and they're having character arcs. So there's just all this magical danger and risk and unknown all around, and actually one of the villains wasn't having a character arc, but he only got involved because the arcs got changed. And so basically every little action counted, and if things didn't work out, everyone was gonna die, or someone would be going down the path to the dark side and things like that, or not going down the path to the dark side, etc. So basically everything was really high stakes in this book. So making sure the characters and the scenes and all that just all work together to both progress the story and to develop the characters and not lead to the villains just taking over the story was, that was only possible by keeping track of things through the belief method. So thank goodness we were using it. And now that I'm thinking about it, maybe all this intense drama is part of why it's Casey's favorite. She's really good with drama. But I don't mean drama in drama. Yeah, I mean drama in this is very interesting and high stakes. Okay, but I do suspect there's another reason it's Casey's favorite, which is that this book, and this is the third takeaway, I guess, is it's just has all the goth ick vibes. So we got old ruined manors, we got skulls flying around stalking and biting people, we've got creepy horses that might drown you, we have corrupt evil plant conservatories or greenhouses. We've got big black cats. We got men turning into monsters. We've got witches. We've got wily, windy moors. We got it all. Got all the gothicness. So yeah, I was afraid that I'll admit that I was like kind of on the fence about gothic stuff when we started on this book. Like I wasn't sure, but like it won me over. Like Halloween vibes, can't escape it. It's all intertwined. Finally, what is the biggest takeaway from the publication process? So in regards to co-writing, so honestly, the first 3 quarters of 2020, you will recall this book came out on Halloween of 2020, and the first 3 quarters of that year were so intense, both like just in the general way the year was intense for, most of us. And also just, it was personally intense for, I guess, each of us in different ways. It was a year. And I think that being able to work on this book during that year was just really, it meant a lot to me. It was very important to me. It helped keep me grounded. And the fact that the characters were also going through rough times and trying their best, whether they failed or succeeded, like it was refreshing. Kind of a catharsis thing going on there. And like, also I think that sweet heartwarming media is like 100% legit as a way to like help cope with difficult times. Like I played Animal Crossing New Horizons a lot in 2020. But I also think that stories in media where like characters are going through struggles and, working their hardest, that's also, and that also can be very helpful as well. Different strokes for different folks, of course. Like some people might find one thing helpful and the other not helpful. But yeah, for me, I like both. So it's nice having both. And also in a time whenever I was personally just like extremely overwhelmed and I lost contact with some people for a while, like working on the book, it really helped, keep Casey and I talking, which is good, both, for our friendship and just as co-writers and also just as human beings who need to interact with other human beings. All we did was do phone calls. We never did Zoom. We never jumped on the Zoom train. Was it Zoom? Was that the one everyone was using that year? That sounds right. Yeah, because I remember it came out of nowhere. At least for me, I was like, what is this? And why is no one using Skype or whatever anymore? Anyways, but yeah. So even if it was just chatting over the phone and hearing her disembodied voice, it was still helpful. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so in regards to just publishing this book in general, this is kind of tough because a lot of 2020 is kind of a blur for me. Like my brain was on it was just on fight or flight mode most of that year. So like stuff that wasn't like super important and going to help me like survive, everything that didn't fall into that category, my brain just sort of like threw it into the garbage bin and it's just gone. So yeah, sadly, a lot of the details about publishing this book are just lost to the mists of time. But I do remember being very excited about it whenever Halloween was getting closer because it was just exciting to have a Halloween-y book actually coming out at Halloween. It was just fun. It was actually fun being that psyched about a release. So yeah, I think that this is also the year whenever I started to become like more of a Halloween lover. I think that was a combination of working on my Pokemon fan comic, which is like, has all the autumn and Halloween vibes, and also working on this book at the same time. It made me like gothic stuff. It made me like Halloween. Apparently writing a series really can change you. Oh my gosh. So we have a couple more books to discuss and I'm excited. I've been really enjoying this series so far. I hope y'all have been enjoying it. And if you have any questions or any, thoughts or comments, please leave them down below and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye bye.